Hi, my name is Neb Kamusen Atumre, and this is the second part of the video, Black Magic, Curse of the Mummy. When a pharaoh dies, he is mummified. He is encased in an outer shell, like what Aset, who is called Isis by the Greeks, had done to the deceased body of Asaru, who is called by the Greeks Osiris. One of the great ascension rituals is the opening of the mouth ceremony. When a pharaoh is dead, his consort and his still mortal son must cause new life to stir in him. At the moment of the early rising of Orion, the pharaoh must be born to the Alahum, the Anunnaki. The son and wife performs this ceremony with an instrument called an az. The pharaoh is standing upright. The son takes the az or the adz, which is shaped like the northern constellation, and strikes open the mouth of the pharaoh, and takes another tool and plunges the ear and opens the mouth. The mouth is open and ear goes in, and the pharaoh is alive again. He is reborn to the sky. Rebirth and new life were very important to the Egyptians, and they were also required to have sexual potency to enable them to copulate with deities. Each had many wives and hundreds of children from the breeding of gods on earth. The next thing that would happen is they would have to turn the mummy to the south in alignment with the southern shaft of the Giza pyramid. The Giza pyramid is where the ceremony is being performed. And attach an erected phallus to his mummified body, and his duty before departing into the afterworld was to seed the womb, symbolic of the womb of Aset and the birth of Horus. Mummification was also an alternative to cryogenics, which is the process of freezing the body for preserving the body without causing damage to the cells and tissues. However, it doesn't preserve the body forever. Pieces of a virus can remain in the body, but it still needs cells to survive and feed off. And let's not forget all the chemical changes that the body goes through after death. If Tutankhamun had been dead for 4,000 years and was mummified, it is virtually impossible for any virus to survive in his body. Now, the cells of the body can still have life and still can produce life if they are used before that life expires. However, in a 4,000-year-old body, the cells are dead. If his body was frozen and defrosted, there is a possibility that the cells would survive. So after 4,000 years, it is insulting people's intelligence to say that some sort of virus killed most of the people who were involved with King Tut's excavation, when many of them never came in contact with the tomb. Not to mention the medicine they were practicing 92 years ago was not as advanced as medicine today. They would try to lend any explanation as to why all these people suddenly died. They just don't want to simply admit to the powers of our ancient ancestors. Since 1922, more than 20 deaths have been connected in some way with the curse of the Egyptian ruler Tutankhamun, his tomb. Even the Kennedy family have investments in King Tut coming to America in 1979, the International Year of the Child, etc. Another famous curse known to be connected with a mummy dates from the year 1881. In that year, Douglas Murray of the British Foreign Office in Egypt purchased a mummy from the Egyptian government and had it brought on board the same ship he was sailing in on his return to England. A few nights after the ship sailed, Murray shot himself in the head and died instantly. One of his assistants, who took over the custody of the mummy, discovered that while he was on board the ship, all of his businesses had failed and he had become bankrupt. Feeling that somehow the mummy was responsible for his financial troubles, this man sold the mummy to a London antiquarian, who immediately presented it to the British Museum. Sir E. A. Wallace Budge, the late world-famous Egyptologist, was the curator of the Egyptian section of the museum at the time. One of the two men who carried the mummy into the museum broke his leg, and the other one died suddenly the next day. Dr. Budge, who had the mummy photographed as soon as it had arrived at the museum, discovered that the photograph unaccountably showed the face of a Negro woman with a terrifying expression of hatred on her face. Dr. Budge was unable to question the photographer who took the photograph because he also died immediately after photographing the mummy. Puzzled by all the tragedies surrounding the mummy, Dr. Budge had removed its wrappings and found that the body was the unusually well-preserved corpse of a woman. Carefully deciphering the inscriptions on the mummy's case revealed that the body was that of a priestess of Panatir Amun-Re of Thebes, Waset, whose Wabat or priests and Wabtat or priestesses were renowned for their magical powers. By now, the British press had given the mummy a great deal of undesirable publicity. This fact, coupled with the disagreeable and often frightening impression the mummy had on the museum visitors, made the museum authorities decide to sell the mummy. Again, an American entrepreneur purchased it and had the mummy shipped to the United States shortly thereafter. But the mummy never reached American shores because the ship on which it had been shipped was the SS Titanic. The British luxury liner Titanic, which has a weight of 46,000 gross tons, on its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City, struck an iceberg about 153 kilometers, which is 95 miles south of the Grand Banks off of Newfoundland, just before midnight on April the 14th, 1912. But why, with all the technology, sensing devices, what drove them directly into the iceberg? Who shoved them to their deaths? Of the more than 2,220 persons aboard, about 1,513 died. What is the real reason for the Titanic's ultimate fate? Who do you think, or why do you think researchers are still excavating the Titanic after their reports to the public and the media gave the impression that they know how it sank? But do they really? And if the sinking of this great ship was caused by an unseen force that doesn't fall under monotheistic religions, would they tell you? No. They would do exactly what they did and have been doing for centuries, try to hide the fact that of the powers of the ancient cultures and their deities. Well, we will tell you, it was the curse. Yes, that's right. Great forces conspired to sink the Titanic, to make it sink in less than 3 hours. Coincidence? No. Not likely, because the same night, the usual California station close to the scene had not come to the rescue because its radio operator was asleep that night. Scientists have since assessed that it was not the impact that sunk the ship, but rather the location of the iceberg that pierced through it. But it doesn't stop there. The original excavators who stole the mummy realized something was wrong, so they tried to get rid of the curse by sneaking it onto the cargo of the ship. Not long after that, they also died. You see, the Nitirt, the Wabt, the priestess, held the power of the secret word. The priestess was removed from her original resting place in Egypt for the pleasures of Europeans and to be used as a showpiece with no regards or respect for who or what she was. Now, almost 102 years later, researchers are still looking for the mummy. She was never found after the crash. They found relics of almost everything, but recovered no artifacts. Yet, she was on the log, that is, the ship's log, mentioned an Egyptian sarcophagus that has been since mysteriously returned to its rightful place, and the power of the Egyptian to curse for protection is still in his hands. It is a matter of knowing how to tap into these formulas. Now, this curse is in the town of Eatonton, Putnam County, for the evils done to the Egyptian community called Tamare, the Nubians. If you keep up with the town, you will see the tongue fall to waste, as did the tongue of Liberty, New York, in the Catskill Mountains, who did the same things to the Nubians during their sojourn in the Catskill Mountains. Now they are bankrupt. Some had actually taken ill. The same thing will happen in Eatonton by way of the powerful protector, great deity Bes, Panitir Bes. The Canaanite Caucasian beastman make it his duty to persecute us wherever we go. He will do anything in his power to prevent us from regaining the powers we possessed in ancient Tamare, Egypt. But what would it matter to him? He won't be there to see it anyways. The sun, Ra, would have already cleansed the disease, him, from the planet. Thus ends today's video. We hope you learned something from this video. We urge you to share this video and to subscribe to the only channel where you will learn true ancient Egyptian mysteries. No more lies, no more guesswork. So share, subscribe. Click on the like button below. See you at the next video.